Welcome back to another Thursday night grind. It is March 26, 2020, and we are right in the upswing of the COVID pandemic. What going on around here? So my shop is actually shut down, and I was going to do something different, but coincidentally today somebody dropped off some saw chain. So I took my sign in, my sign that says closed, because we had a snowstorm just the other day. So anyway, they just left. It all works out. It's fine. It's no problem. And it's just the way it is, man. And it's one of those things, like, I can't do everything. Like, I can't go into everything that goes in a saw chain. Like, the more, like any other sharpening thing, the more I've studied it and learned about it, the more I've learned that I have to learn about it. Like, there's still a long way to go for me. But I got this super jolly after doing many chains on this guy. And if you go back into the archives on my YouTube channel, you'll see how I used to do it with this thing. And then that's a great tool. I still endorse that. I think that's something that maybe every saw owner should have. But like just like doing kitchen knives, what happens is people get the chain to the condition where that thing just won't do it anymore, and then they say, hey, that guy advertises that he sharpens saw chain. So and then just like they do that, the kitchen knives that come in are oftentimes in pretty bad shape. So these aren't terrible, but I actually got two. There's a couple of things I want to that I have learned here, and I'm going to do a steel chainsaw chain for you. But the person also dropped off some Craftsman chain, and it was fascinating to me just holding them, just to be able to tell the difference in I don't know, like the steel chain is just it feels heavier, bigger. It probably goes on a bigger saw, like it's by design, but I have had some trouble in the learning curve working on some chains that are not the highest quality. And what happened for me was it would just push the steel over and just leave a big burr on it. And actually, I reached out. Another reason why I like shopping at Sharpening Supplies is I reached out to Kirby. I sent him a picture of it, and I was like, hey, could you forward this to Kirby? Because I talked to him about this machine before I bought it. I said, here's what's going on. And he came back with some tips. So I get the Amazon thing. Like, they've done a great job at making prices as low as they can be, but they don't have customer support, right? Like technical support. And for things like this, I really like it. And I still owe you a video on getting a new, I wore out a diamond matrix stone from Edge Pro, and I was talking back and forth with Ben by email. Like, Ben's the guy that invented the Edge Pro. So I don't know, it's just something for you to consider as you're going out shopping. The other thing is, like, if you buy from some of these companies, even if you bought an Edge Pro on Amazon, you can still reach out to Ben, The difference is this Super Jolly, I think, is made in Switzerland. I don't know. You can check me on that, but they're distributed through Sharpening Supplies in the U.S. So anyway, let's talk about the hardest thing with these chains, with any that come in, is figuring out what all the angles are and all the right sizes. There's a bunch of doodads to help. Here's actually, this one's my favorite. I'll give you the lettering. It's called if I hold it this way, you'll be able to read it even. It's called the pitch and gauge. And it has, I'm not going to go over the whole thing here, but it has all sorts of different things for you to determine what all the chain dimensions are. Excuse me, every time I cough, I'm concerned about the COVID. The world we live in, man, it's a funny time right now. There's also, let me get it. Because it's just right here. Like, here's a chart of like all the, like it's by, oh, hold on, it's even bigger than that. Look at that. Like the idea is here, like here's the brand of chain, and like here's the pitch, and then like here's all the angles. But you know what happens? It's insane, man. All the chains you get, none of them are on here. So you end up going online and like you're searching like hands down the hardest part, until I discovered that like for all the chains I get, they're pretty much 30 or 25 degrees, 30 or 25 degrees. If I don't know the tilt angle, I just go to 0. Like it's not that big of a deal. And they're all none of them require the 3/16 wheel. So I'm using the 1/8 wheel on pretty much all the chain I get. So I guess like I'm going to acknowledge that I still have more to learn on saw chain, but I have gotten to the point where I'm comfortable taking in chain, and I'm confident that I can get it back to them in a condition that the chain is going to cut remarkably better. The other thing, which I'll share with you, is I charge $5 a chain right now, and I don't spend a lot of time on the rakers. Actually, I don't. The only reason I would is if I noticed if the tooth was worn. You see my finger here, get you. If the tooth was worn way back, I would start like being like, well, that raker might need to be taken down. But I'm not going to do that with this chain. And if that's something that you really are interested in, someday we can do that later. For a $5 job, I like the rakers as a whole, like swapping wheels. It's a whole different thing. Like it adds a whole new dimension. So I'm not super amped about doing rakers, and I found that they are kind of rarely an issue. I like, back me up on this. If you run through a lot of chain, like how many times do you adjust the rakers over the life of a chain? I don't know. I feel like if you did it twice, that would be enough. I don't know. That's a place to grow into. But anyway, let's stop rambling and get to sharpening. Oh, and you see my setup here. Like it's good. It's growing. It's getting better. The things that are coming in the future, I'm going to have some dust collection over here. This is, it's a grinding wheel. Like it definitely makes a mess, and it's not good to be breathing it. And I want to get a parts cleaner, just a little small parts cleaner down here with some just some cleaner in there. I think they call it gum remover for saws and blades. I don't know. I haven't actually figured it. If you have a recommendation on what the best fluid is to go in a parts washer, I would appreciate that. The conditions that I'm concerned about are the smell. Like this is inside, so I don't want one that off gases a lot. And I also don't want a fire hazard. So any recommendations on that would be awesome. Please leave them in the comments or reach out to me. Okay, and also make sure if you're getting any value from this discussion about saw chain or sharpening or any of my other videos, please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. That tells YouTube that I'm legit. And then also, if you could be so kind to leave a comment, if it's just like, hey, sweet, thanks, that's cool. Or if you want to reach out, like I do look at all the comments, and I enjoy engaging down there. So please know that. All right, so I'm going to start. So a lot of times chains will have two cutters that are pointed in the same direction. That's essentially where the chain starts or ends. And it is not always blindingly obvious where that is. And I'm not seeing it right away, but this does have a marked link right here, a yellow marked link. So I'm just going to start there and set up the rig. I'll show you how that goes down. Okay, so I think most of these are kind of all the same, meaning like Oregon makes one. Like clearly you're going to get what you pay for. So if you get that $6 one off, like I don't know, like wherever you get it, but I've seen them offered for very low money, and I bet that you get what you pay for. So this was the my shopping technique for my business is this is the most expensive one within reason that I could find coming from a trusted source. So I'm not ashamed to say that I spent quite a bit of money on it. I think it was, in fact, I have it written down as $380. I'm probably 3/4 of the way to having recouped the money I invested in this doing chains at $5 a piece. That said, like, I paid for this out of money that came from the other tools in the shop, right? So this is just adding to that perpetual motion machine where once this is paid off, this rig's gonna last me like forever, maybe. I don't know. Like, maybe not. Tell me it won't. But once I've recouped the money I put into it, like, it's just it's printing money. I don't know. I get so amped about this stuff. The business aspect, right? Like, this is good. I'll share this with you as I'm setting this up. Even just keep rambling at you. There's this idea like, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur, right? Like, you hear people say that, but like, actually everybody is. Like, if you have a job, like, you're an entrepreneur with one customer, and like, you're selling yourself to that one customer. So yes, you are. You know, like, don't be afraid. Go start a business. It's not as scary as it maybe has been made out to be. Okay. All right. So let's see. All right. So I got my guide set in here. I'm going to try to get you as close as I can. I already checked the gauge of these things ride in the bar. Whatever the thickness of there, it's 0.063, and you set that on this dial. It is a steel chain. It's at 30 degrees, which I set right here. No tilt, which is set right here. Usually, like, the most I've ever seen is 10 degrees. But anyway, like I said, like, we're not gonna. This is not a full tutorial on chain sharpening. All right, so now I'm going to. Gotta back this up a little bit. You'll see with mine, I have this sweet hydraulic hose, so as I pull the handle down, which gets right in your view, doesn't it? Sorry about that. Maybe I'll swing you around or something. Anyway, as I pull the handle down, it clamps the saw chains and clamps it while it does the grinding. So now I need to set the depth. Can I do you a little better here? I don't know if that's better or not. What you get here is authenticity, and what you don't get is incredible video editing. All right, you might have actually a better angle over here. But anyway, let me do this. So I'm setting the depth. It's touching the chain. I'm coming up on the depth stop. Bringing the chain in a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm going to put my iPro on, and then I'll try to get you a good view on the other side too. But this is, oh, all right, so here's the thing. This isn't as loud as the other stuff, but I just wanted to share, like, what you don't want to do is lean into this, and what you end up doing is heating up that cutter, and then you damage it. And I believe, and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, but I believe when you heat them up, you end up hardening the tooth to a point where if the owner then puts a file on this tooth after wearing it out on wood or rocks or whatever ends up happening, then that file might not cut as well. So I believe that's the issue. But the bottom line is you don't want to go heating up the tooth. So it's bumps. And what I've found is, and with a lot of chains that are kind of worn out, if you need to take off a lot, it's better to do like 3 or 5 like quick taps and then go to the next tooth and just work your way around the chain a few times until each tap gets you all the way down the tooth. All right, let's just do a few here. All right, yo, this is a good time. Like, if you want to hit that little wheel and speed this up, like go to 2 times or something, like, Anyway, but again, you might find something while I'm doing something here that you like. So like, don't pretend that there's nothing to learn here or correct me on, right? I'm not going to pretend that I don't have room to improve. I'm just saying like this is kind of a slow process, but okay, carry on. Back to the beginning. Okay. Let me see if I can, before I switch it up here, get you a different view. Something like that, maybe? All right, so now I'm going to spin here to the other side, 30. Of course, now I put you right in my way, but all right, so and then I'm going to go to this other tooth. This little stop gets backed out so that the stop is nicely centered on that tooth, and then I leave the depth of cut the same. So now when the owner gets this chain back, every tooth is the same size. I think that's a great advantage of doing the sharpening on a machine like this rather than with a file. Or maybe it doesn't even matter. I don't know. Like, does it matter much if the teeth are not the same size? Let me know. good, man. I like steel chain. I think I like working with their chain. Okay. That is that's pretty much all that's about it. Oh, I was thinking one other thing when I was going through there. If you don't have a painted link like what's on there, or a chain that has two links that are in the same side of the chain, or some other way to know your start point, you can just paint the top of one of the cutters with your Sharpie, or maybe two. I found that sometimes it's better to paint two cutters, but whatever. That way, it's that reassurance that you've made it all the way around the chain. Although usually you can tell, unless it's one of those chains that you have to bring around the machine a few times to get it all cut. Okay, so if you have any questions on sharpening saw chain, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you. I'm still in the growth curve for saw chain. And I look forward to learning more. So if you have anything to add about the way that I'm doing it that might improve the process, please feel free to contribute. I would welcome you to contribute that. I think that's it. Stay safe, everybody, and do your best. I hope everyone is doing their best through this thing we're going through right now with the COVID. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like and comment, and I'll see you next week.